The news cycle has accelerated beyond anything we could have imagined. Well, except my next guest called it. He's the nation's explainer-in-chief, a three-time Pulitzer Prize winner, the man who told us the world is flat. And now the New York Times columnist Thomas L. Friedman has his latest book in paperback. Thank you for being late. An Optimist's Guide to Thriving in the Age of Accelerations. Tom, I don't think that you set out to explain the rise of populism, but you did. You say that technology creates uncertainty, and Donald Trump clearly capitalized on that uncertainty in the election. Here's my question. Now we're 10 months in without him having much to show for it. So why is he still able to harness the angst that you wrote about?
A very good question, Michael. So let's think about the accelerations we're in the middle of. First of all, there's been an acceleration in the movement of people. There's more refugees, migrants around the world ever before. So now you go to the grocery store and the woman at the cash register may not be wearing a baseball cap. That has some people unsettled. Then you go, there's been a huge acceleration in the flow of ideas. Ideas now flow and change, and social norms change faster than ever. So then you go into the restroom and there's someone of a different sex there. The flow of technology change has, as we all know, accelerated. So now you're at the office and your boss just rolled up a robot next to your desk and it seems to be studying your job. And that means the flow of education has to change. It means the day when you can get a 4-year college degree and expect to dine out on that for 30 years of your career is gone. It means that lifelong learning becomes the single most important competitive advantage. Well, you put all four of those together, Michael, and it's not surprising that a lot of people were very susceptible to a guy who says, I can stop the wind. I can stop the pace of change. And the reason he's failed is, of course, you can't actually stop the pace of change. What we need to be doing is not building walls, but building floors. Creating floors under people so they can actually thrive in this age of acceleration.
The Democratic Party arguably in the worst state since Reconstruction. Is it because they have failed to seize upon what Thomas Friedman is writing about?
Well, yeah, my view, Michael, is both our political parties are dead. Just one of them thinks it's alive because it's in power, but they're actually blowing up because they were actually designed to answer questions of the New Deal, the Industrial Revolution, the early IT revolution, and civil rights, both race and gender. And I think what a party has to actually respond to today is how do you enable people to get the most and cushion the worst of these three giant accelerations in the climate, in globalization, and technology. And the parties have not made the shift, but because they have money, they can sort of thrive or survive on their fumes for a while, but they're all blowing up. I think our 2020 election will be unlike any election we've ever seen.
So, like many, I always take note of your dispatches from around the globe, literally. What stop interests you the most on the president's Asian trip?
Well, I think the China one really is so interesting to me, and it's just the contrast. Again, so what my book argues is that we are in the middle of a change in the climate of the climate. So what is China doing? It's investing massively in clean energy and green power. We're in the middle of the change of the climate of globalization. The world's going from interconnected to interdependent. What's China doing? It's massively investing in globalization. Its project of, One Belt, One Road, the Asian Development Bank. And lastly, we're in the change of the climate of technology. So what is China doing? It's got a Made in China 2025 project to massively invest in all the new technology of the 21st century, from new materials to AI to all kinds of cyber, etc. What are we doing by contrast? Our president is denying climate change. On globalization, he actually pulled us out of the Asian Free Trade Agreement and may pull us out of NAFTA. And at home, we have a tax bill that's based on no theory of change whatsoever. It's just based on the idea of cutting taxes for corporations without reference to where we are technologically, what do we want to invest in, what do we don't. So that's just stupid. When you look at how they're responding to the accelerations and how we're responding, there's a shocking gap.
I made reference earlier in the program to H.R. McMaster saying, don't expect that he's going to tone down the rhetoric. I was interested to see, and I'm paraphrasing, but you said recently that a little crazy is maybe not a bad thing when you're dealing with China and North Korea. What did you mean?
What I meant is these people do take us for granted. And so I think keeping them off balance is fine. It's good. It can be very helpful. But you have to have a underlying strategy behind it. And that's what's been missing here. You know, you were talking with the Dilbert creator. I thought it was a very interesting conversation. What is the way to sort of get to Trump? And I think Trump is a chump. I think that that's what the Chinese believe. Because think about it. He's going to go there and negotiate trade with them now. He's hoping to. And what did he do before he went over there? He tore up the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership, which was basically an alliance of 12 nations that controlled 40% of global GDP. The alliance was based on our interests and our values. He could have been sitting across from Xi Jinping next week saying, "Hi, Mr. Xi, I represent 40% of the global economy." Instead, he tore this up for nothing, actually. Got nothing from China. Now he's going to go there. The Chinese will sell him old carpets that they've sold us before. And they use North Korea, Michael, I believe, as a way of, as a shiny object to distract Trump. I think Xi has his number. They think Trump is a chump. And the reason he's a chump, Michael, is because he doesn't know anything. He doesn't do his homework. He's just out there tweeting. And if you don't do your homework and you don't build real leverage up with the Chinese, who can smell your power from 100 paces, they know exactly how much power you have, they will play you, and they will play him.
Hey, Thomas, the book, thank you for being late, now in paperback. It's a terrific read, as always, from you. Thank you for being here.
Real pleasure. Thank you, Michael.